Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro sent a direct message to the people of the United States, assuring them that they have a friendly government in Caracas. During an interview with writer and journalist Ignacio Garmonet, the Venezuelan leader distinguished the U.S. people from the actions of their government, while affirming that Venezuelans are a friendly people and peaceful people as well. For his part, the head of state denounced the excessive use of force by the United States as an international crime. President Maduro also argued that U.S. policy in the country is isolated and evidences the failure of Washington's strategy to take over the South American country's resources. Finally, the head of state assured that the people of Venezuela are definitely against war.
Pueblo de Estados Unidos, inclusive le digo.
To the people of the United States, I even tell you, here you have a friendly government.
Bastante manejado así por
I
Nueva
know the
York,
United
Boston,
States well.
Baltimore,
I have driven around New York, Boston, Baltimore,
Queens,
Philadelphia, New
Manhattan.
Jersey, Queens, Manhattan, Washington. I have driven around a lot. I told the President of the United States that I know a lot.
Bastante conozco. La Avenida Constitution, es bellísima.
I know Constitution Avenue, which is beautiful, Pennsylvania Avenue, where the statue in homage to Bolivar is located, the Lincoln Memorial, which is beautiful, and I have driven there a lot. And the people of the United States should know that they have a friendly, peaceful people here and a friendly government too.
Pacífico y tiene un gobierno también amigo.
They should know that, and that our slogan is very clear. Since that this is a gift I have here for Ramonet, our slogan is very clear. No war, yes, peace.
Not war, yes, peace.
In this context, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro also asserted that the country is facing a cognitive war and defended the truth as the main weapon for guaranteeing the country's sovereignty.
La guerra es cognitiva porque la guerra es por el cerebro.
War is cognitive because war is for the brain. The brain manages emotions and concepts, and war is cognitive. And for a cognitive war, you have to create a force of consciousness, a force of value, spiritual strength, and fight the battle with the truth.
Y dar la batalla con la verdad. Nuestra mayor arma.
Our greatest weapon is not a nuclear missile. Our greatest weapon is the truth about Venezuela, which is irrefutable, devastating, and which, when they open a breach like this for us to tell our truth,
y que cuando nos abren una brecha así,
truly the light comes on for good in our country. We defend our right to peace, we defend our right to national sovereignty, to international law that guarantees the self-determination of peoples. We defend the right to the future and to development.
Nuestro derecho a la soberanía nacional, al derecho internacional que garantiza la autodeterminación de los pueblos.
These are fundamental rights guaranteed by the United Nations and by all international treaties. The right to development of peoples, the right to the future, the right to peace, and we defend a glorious history, the history of the liberators of America.
Y nosotros defendemos una historia gloriosa, la historia de los libertadores y libertadoras de América.
So I believe that this system of streets, networks, media, and walls will gain more and more strength, more substance, and will allow us in 2026 and in the years to come for Venezuela to be known for its truths and not for so much manipulation and so many dirty attacks that are made.
And on the other hand, the head of state defended the Venezuelan democracy model and defied critics and the hegemonic media to go to the communes to debate directly with the people.
This year we had 4 national consultations, but of course for AP, CNN, AFP, and for the Western media, direct democracy doesn't exist. What exists for them is the permanent attack against the Bolivarian Venezuela. But here I defy anyone who wants to debate, whoever, no matter their name or position, I defy them to go to any neighborhood in Caracas and debate with our people, not with me, with the people, so they can see how a new democracy is being built. We don't claim to be models for anyone, but we are proud of what we are building. So the people are being empowered, forging themselves and training themselves.
And the Venezuelan president also highlighted a 34% growth in trade and consumption and assured that this reflects recovery in the purchasing power of the population.
Ahorita en diciembre, este año, perdón.
This year, trade, sales, and consumption grew by 34%, and if there is an excess of supply of domestic and imported products,
significativo. Y si hay exceso de oferta, productos, pero bastante, nacionales e
domestic
importados.
products already count for 90% of all products on the domestic market.
Y hay crecimiento del comercio al 34% este año otra vez.
This means that there is a real purchasing power and real consumption capacity in Venezuelan families, and this must be consolidated.
And in an exclusive interview with teleSUR, Alexander Babakov, Vice President of the Russian State Duma, reaffirmed his firm stance in rejecting the threats and aggressions of the United States against Venezuela.
I believe that the Venezuelan people are united behind their president, their leader, and I believe that this is the main real obstacle to the implementation of the plan to invade the country. I believe that the escalation of the situation is centered onto aspects. The first is external, that is, the reaction of the international community. In this sense, our role is fundamental. We must convey our position that this type of action against any state is intolerable. And the second is internal. Until any attempt at destabilization is ruled out, in my opinion, the use of force against the country will be impossible. Since the war, we know that Western countries tend to avoid direct contact with the armed forces of the countries they attack. Because the West understands that where the spirit and the nation are strong, they have no chance of victory.
At least 6 people were killed and over 10 were injured in an armed attack in southwestern Ecuador following the extension of the state of emergency during the country's most violent year-end period. Individuals armed with firearms attacked a family celebrating the end of the year in the port city of Manta in the coastal province of Manabí. The attack came 3 days after a similar incident that claimed the lives of 6 other people, including a newborn baby in Puerto Lopez. In this scenario, a state of emergency was declared in 9 Ecuadorian provinces due to the sharp escalation of violence and the increase in the homicide rate. In this regard, the Organized Crime Observatory is predicting that the violent deaths will continue to rise in 2026. The Navy Secretariat reported that the death toll from the trail derailment in southern Mexico had risen to 14 following the death on Thursday of someone who had been receiving medical attention. The Ministry of the Navy regretted the death of a 73-year-old woman on January 1st who had been receiving medical attention as a result of the recent interoceanic corridor train accident. The institution expressed solidarity and condolences to the deceased woman's family and loved ones. In this scenario, the ministry is coordinating with relevant authorities to ensure comprehensive support for the relatives of the victims. The Attorney General's office is investigating the accident that occurred on December 28th of 2025 on Line Z of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec Railway in the southern state of Oaxaca, which left approximately 100 people injured. In Russia, the number of fatal victims after Ukraine's drone strike in the Kherson region rose to 27. According to the latest report from Russian Investigative Committee spokeswoman Svetlana Petrenko, 27 people, including 2 minors, were killed in the terrorist attack. In addition, 31 people, among them 5 minors, were taken to medical institutions with injuries of various severities. The attack, perpetrated by the Ukrainian military on a hotel and a cafe in the settlement of Korli, took place overnight on New Year's, while several civilians were gathering to celebrate the date. In the aftermath, the Russian authority has assured that the responsible will be identified and all representatives of the Ukrainian armed forces would be brought to justice. The Bolivian Workers' Central Union blamed the national government for the radicalization of protest actions, pointing out that Supreme Decree 5503 is selling the South American country to neoliberal interests. The executive secretary of the COB, Mario Argollo, stated that the demonstrations that began on December 19, 2025, aim to protect the interests of the Bolivian people in the face of the imposition of a measure that, under the pretext of macroeconomic stabilization, endangers the working classes. In this regard, Argollo also denounced a campaign of intimidation carried out by the government of Rodrigo Paz, which includes the deprivation of liberty of union leaders involved in the protest. In this context, the workers' union announced a large mobilization for Saturday, January 3rd. The march will start from the municipality of Calamarca to the government headquarters under the slogan, "Bolivia is not for sale." In southern Mexico, a 6.5 magnitude earthquake shook the country's capital and several states on Friday. According to the National Seismological Service, the tremor's epicenter was located 15 kilometers southwest of the Guerrero municipality of San Marcos. The quake was felt in several parts of Mexico City, the coastal area of Guerrero, and states further away, such as triggering seismic alerts and causing hundreds to evacuate buildings and properties. The event forced the suspension of the usual morning press conference by President Claudia Sheinbaum, who informed upon her return to the National Palace that preliminary reports indicate no serious damage.
Hablé con la gobernadora de Guerrero.
I spoke with the governor of Guerrero, Evelyn Salgado. They are convening the Civil Protection Council, and so far it appears that there is no serious damage. But we will wait for the report from Guerrero. In the case of Mexico City, the first helicopter flyover carried out as the protocol mandates reports that there is no damage either, but we will remain on the standby to continue reporting.
And Iran commemorates the 6th anniversary of the martyrdom of General Qasem Soleimani with official ceremonies in Tehran. Under the slogan, "Men of Iran," thousands of citizens and high-ranking officials remembered the former commander in an atmosphere of mourning and religious devotion. During the ceremony, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian highlighted Soleimani's figure as a living role model for freedom seekers and defenders of justice. Pezeshkian also condemned the United States and Israel for perpetrating state terrorism under the pretext of civilization, democracy, and supposed freedom. The president stated that they targeting those seeking global freedom, such as Soleimani, engineer Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, scientists, military commanders, and other prominent figures. Qasem Soleimani was born on March 12 of 1957 and grew up in a peasant family in southeastern Iran's Kerman province. It was with the 1980s Iran-Iraq war that Soleimani quickly emerged as an important military figure in the newly established Islamic Republic, and between 1997 and 1998, he took command of the Quds Forces, an elite unit in charge of protecting the revolution beyond Iran's border. He was killed on January 3, 2020, by a U.S. strike that had been ordered by President Donald Trump at Baghdad's international airport, in an attack denounced as a violation of international law and described by Iran as an act of state terrorism. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro sent a direct message to the people of the United States, assuring them that they have a friendly government in Caracas. During an interview with writer and journalist Ignacio Armonet, the Venezuelan leader distinguished the U.S. people from the actions of their government, while affirming that Venezuelans are a friendly people and peaceful people as well. For his part, the head of state denounced the excessive use of force by the United